Hello, everyone. Great to have you all here as I'm here with Cosmilk as we are about to go into our next game of the day.
Hey, yeah.
So, you all know I ended up doing the casting for the last game. Went ahead and did that. All good. As we're now about to get into our second game here, I believe, I may need a reminder. I'm sorry, Cos, if you know who we're doing today. If I'm correct,
Um,
actually, I believe it was LCG versus Gnomes.
hey, your guess is as good as mine because you're blind. So, how you doing today, Gundam?
Oh, we're doing good.
That's
We're doing good. Looks
always
like we are doing the Gnomes versus LCG, by the way. We're just waiting on Q. So for LCG and Gnomes, once they get readied up, we'll go ahead and start the game. Um, what do you think about outcomes for this possible game here? From the last game with the Gnomes versus YY, I saw Gnomes ended up tying, ended up losing actually a 1-4v5 round, but they did give up a pretty good fight here. So at least, caster bias. I think Gnomes here is probably going to be doing pretty good over LCG. You have any takes on that by chance?
I've never really seen LCG play before, and I've like gnomes. I've played against them before back in like the old organized chaos, and they were pretty good. So I think gnomes like might have the edge in this competition.
All right, well, it looks like they are in game now. So we're gonna head and head on in here. Their first map looks to be a storefront with Gnome starting up on attack here. Saber also going out, which makes complete perfect sense here as we see a pretty wide storefront here. They end up going to be blowing for center. I've seen Gnomes do that pretty commonly as well. Going to be barbing off first the green and for a teller here, but that teller barb, I personally, and I don't know, this might just be me, it seems better as an E-barb if you ever wanted to prevent them from coming off the teller for that door. Um, of course, that could always be comfort in E-barb. They also are outlining a peek here from Shed, which, if they were to come across the truck here, that's just a free damage right there from the attackers, or defenders as well, just to deal a bunch of massive damage to attackers. So we possibly see here, we could either see a full push for the storefront, or as well as maybe even a split push in the office here, but it's all heads right now. So you see Nade also coming out here for a storefront. That makes the perfect sense here. They're going to probably take the nade, most likely for office, as I called it. They are going to be going for that office storefront push here.
All
And
right.
Lin and Toxic now getting set up for that peek there on the Shed Green. Shots ring out, but Sleep taking damage there. Link taking a little bit back here. As they're now about to funnel back around to the other side. We see Admiral getting set up for that office push with Pistage and Freezer. Nade goes out, Wild Charge is now set. The Sleep now begins to push through storefront here. I'm sorry, they're about to push through storefront. Reptar setting up as Admiral's now stuck in a tight spot between office and storefront. Couple shots ring out by Reptar, but nothing connects as they now breach into office with Admiral being the first to go down here. Pistage being the only one in Freezer. Falls back in the bathroom here. Sleep is now inside storefront. And another kill. Oh, damage actually about to go off here. Just Toxic now just stuck in Teller. Sleep about to pull up, and Lin and Lando all just stuck back in fridges right now. Index goes down. Now a 3v3 here, but the shotgun gets picked on the control here.
Lando with a smooth double kill on Index and Control. Or Lindo? Is his name Lind?
Lind, yes. I believe you were correct. Now a 2v3 here with Reptar outside sitting with Saber. And Skew just making his way slowly through Freezer. Land a little bit unsuspecting, but they do have that barb there for bathroom to alert them. Second that barb gets ring out, he tries to get a couple of shots out through that bathroom door. Land also returning some fire as well. Lando still just kind of stuck there. He's just chilling. The Reptar's now in his office, pushing out in the storefront here. Could be a bit deadly. The flash goes out for Fridges. 2 flashes go out. Lind and Lando just now getting caught
Oh
off
my
guard there.
god.
It's now a 2v1 with Reptar, and
Scooge
they're all
with the
dead
clutch
actually.
double kill.
That flash push in the Fridges there was definitely very, very smart for Scooch to do that, as that just completely isolated out from Toxic, as he was just stuck there in tellers. He couldn't really do much. You know, he maybe could have swung, but Reptar would have been able to get that swung. You know, Reptar Gnomes, he's, you know, one of their best snipers right now, and if he can isolate anyone, like he has them locked down. There's nothing more else that, you know, you can really do about that. And I believe Reptar played that really smart there to wait a bit for Toxic if he happened to play too aggro, that he just eventually made his way up into storefront to help with that push there in the Fridges.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough for them. That was rough.
It's our second map now with the Gnomes leading 1-0. Goes into Dome on Merlin Banner. One thing I like about this specific dome is that although the beach and base here are pretty open, especially at castle, there's a lot of cover here. You have log, rocks, you have a tree here. You also have the couple more rocks right here, and even some cover in base here. Looks like gnomes are opting to possibly do a 2-3 split here to castle, which is honestly, I don't know, Kaz, what do you think about that plan possibly?
2-3 spillet into castle. I mean, that'll give them a lot of control over jungle if they manage to take castle, but they'd have to really push out in order to get the bomb, obviously, and that would leave.
Oh,
I mean, there's
excuse me.
still freaking the left side of jungle that they have to clear. But other than
As
that, I think castle control is really strong on this map.
we now have a bit of a pause here. I just heard from one of the players that other games ended up crashing. I believe we have a disconnect here, so we might be stuck here for a little while. As always, due process, early access. Some things happen. As a really quick here, we'll go ahead and talk about stats for that last game. We got Scooch seeing 3 kills there. About an assist going off, Index getting about a solid 100 damage. As for Gnomes, both Toxic and Lando worked really well together. They're getting about 200, 150 damage in total. Unfortunately, both ended up going down for that round, though. Reptar getting a little bit of damage off on that round, about just 90. But even if it was just a little bit, they actually did manage to secure that round, especially with Scooge's flash there.
Yeah, Pistage didn't really do anything in that round, huh?
I mean, as long as they just isolated one player
Yeah.
out from, I believe, Gnomes, LCG, or yeah, as long as they just managed to, you know, isolate Pistage, they probably thought that they had that round. Um, but you know, again, Scooge with that amazing flash push in the Fridges, and then you had Reptar to back him up to watch that swing from Toxic out from Tellers. That definitely did help them continue on for the round.
Okay, I thought I was tripping. I thought LCG had won. I was like, wait, no, it was just if the freaking icons were switched. Cause I was like, yo, hold on, who's on whose team for a second? I thought I was mad tripping right now.
As we now see the unpause going out here, so both teams are going to go ahead and start, you know, gearing up here, getting their plan ready, and overall, just to get the mental going here, as we see a Barb here going out for Pit. That might not probably be possible here, as we see them, you know, going here for a Beast Castle Split. It's very common on this map. 2 here being put out in Castle with a little bit of a light jungle defense here, at least, you know, in my opinion, since this is a very, very heavy, um, you know, bomb control here by Castle. Is it just overlooks both Castle and a little bit of Ruins if you're able to get a swing, but I think that's why they're ended up sending the 2 beach here, just to lock down that top ruins, some of jungle here. Um, they now have Admiral ready for the Molly on that red. Beach kick goes out. Reptar and Index slowly pushing up here. Molly goes out for Castle. So far, no damage, but it's just Sleep Control and Scooge outside Castle here. Flashes should be going out here. Toxic playing it a little bit too far there with Knack, possibly hoping to get some damage in, and then a swing by Admiral as the damage goes out. They're pushing into Castle very fast here. Toxic, no kill. And then with Scooge, Admiral just managed to get the pick there. Scooge goes down the Pistage, is now just controlling Admiral stuck in Castle. So now Admiral picks off control.
Situation.
A 2v3 now as Reptar actually gets a pick
2v3?
on the Lind. It's Index cleaning up that top ruins above jungle. You still have a good coverage of bomb here. Pistage can still swing out on the bomb, and Admiral just has a very, very good vision over bomb, and Lando just staying out in those bushes there. Reptar is trying to connect up back with Index so they can group up, as they both have a flash into smoke here, so something could definitely happen. Pistage gets a nice pick there on the Reptar. Just getting a peek there. Index trying to return fire, but nothing really seems to happen. Index a little bit low on health.
I think the play here is just to grab Saber and just try to save as best you can.
Oh, if he can potentially save Saber run on a pit, then yes. Oh, he's going in water. Gets pick on a Pistage here. Index trying to fight for his own as he has land there in bushes. Doesn't know he's there. Admiral's still shooting off some shots there by the log on bomb, and then Lando gets fire. Lando there, we saw, he was just waiting patiently. He was just waiting for him to fall there. And that's exactly what happened there, is that Index didn't really know he was there. He didn't clear that spot. And so Lamb was just able to get that perfect last kill there. So we saw Admiral also got some good kills there. Good opening shot on the sleep and another on the control. And then Pish is playing that top back of jungle there for that pit push. Pretty smart there. You managed to get that opening pick onto Reptar. And I think that's kind of where their plan fell apart, is that you probably most likely had to have another AP there to help back up that push. Because if someone's going to be holding that with Igmar, you know, they're just going to easily just out gunfire or outfire that Saber there. So as we now go into our next map here, it's Kill House, Singular Freedom, and oh boy, we got a breezeway. There's a couple peaks here already being outlined by the defensive team here, LCG. Possibly some good openers here in the lockers, maybe checkpoint by Gnomes here. They're fully aware, of course, of that office book. Reptar, of course, being their sniper, is going to be aware of those, and he's maybe even communicating to his teams like, hey, we need to be aware of these. We should probably, you know, avoid these at all costs if possible. And it looks like they might be correct. They might be trying to go for possibly maybe an office take here. We could also see a lockers push as well. Maybe even a checkpoint push as well. If we do see that checkpoint, the smokes are going to be going out here for that. Looks like they're going to be sticking possibly to either a lockers or checkpoint, and they're actually going to be using to door charge into hall here. With defense possibly predicting an office blow, maybe a bit of a lockers as well, but they're going to end up setting up the barbs for breezeway. Get another barb for hall as well. And another thing about this checkpoint here as well that I might as well also notice is that there's a little, as some other players call them, kidney rooms that like to connect off to an outside area here. And as one of the players ended up pointing out, I believe, they end up going to be clearing that. Oh, and it looks like actually Admiral just kicks those open. So those are already end up free cleared angles for the attackers here. And that may end up cutting off Admiral's rotate if he has to rotate out of there. As we see sending one up to checkpoint as the shot goes out. Lind does deal no damage though, so now it's just a gunfire there through breezeway. Lind's being the only one in office. Another shot rings out. They can't get it. As Admiral then rotates out of kitchen, taking a little bit of damage. They're now grouped up for that checkpoint push. It's Admiral is now the only one here in lockers, with Lind now watching for that push. With Mop, may I add, though. He's holding it very aggressively. Takes just a little bit of damage there. Admiral gets a nice pick on the Reptar. Scooch takes out Lind. Admiral's now having to rotate on lockers, but he can't, as 4 of them now pushed into the lockers here into a 3v4 scenario. Toxic trying to get some wallbangs there with the auto, but he just can't. They're doing well enough to stay clear of those. They do have to clear out that bar, but they have the nade for it. And oh, they must have gotten into that with that door charge. Flashes go up, but that molly stops them from pushing.
I think they just doubled molly, which would kind of hurt them in the long run.
As they end up getting the rebarb there, though, but no molly's out, so they're going to have to
Ah,
play.
but they took double grenade.
Sound cue. No, that grenade was mainly just for that hollow grenade. As Toxic gets another pick here,
Toxic
just ring out. Scooge now just by himself in kitchen, rotating around lockers here. So they have a really good position there on the hall. Scooge now creeping up in the hall. He knows there's going to be at least 2 hall here. Pistage sees him and he just swings on him. And I think one of the downfalls I saw, one of the biggest mistakes, is that they ended up flashing into one of their mollies here. Granted, that was good on them to actually save the nade for that barb once that emergency barb came out. Originally, I'd used the door charge for that. That was smart, and it looks like we see Toxic get zapped by the UAV there. Maybe trying to loot some bodies, who knows. But that round, it started off really well for Gnomes, and then it just all fell apart because of LCG's really good hold onto that hall push there. And I think it also possibly came down to that flash utilization there. Like, we saw some flashes go out in rooms that were already cleared. Good damage, though, overall, as we now go into the C-Store map with now being the quarter here.
What an unfortunate turn of events for last round for the attacker side.
Yeah, is that again, flash utilization is a very important key onto attacker here. Is you typically don't want to, of course, throw your flashes toward just lit flames, and especially on a barb as well. I mean, I can only imagine the Gnomes mental when they had to push that with no flashes. As we now see a C-Store here. Again, it's a very big open lane here for C-Star, and I think Gnomes recognize that, as they're now going to put out 2 barbs for a very far back storefront here. This barb right here for near the fridges is very good for cutting off the rotate from freezer, as we may also see it getting moved down that left one toward tellers, especially toward that top hole right here. We can see that. That's actually getting able to cover it, so you can get some good wall bangs, a good sight lane in there. We see another barb go out for the arcade push. And we see Control here playing very aggressive on green with auto. They may end up trying to go for green here, and they are taking the nade for it. And it almost looks like they are calling that out, too, with LCG just almost predicting exactly where Control is going to be playing there. But, of course, we'll have to see what Control does around that. We've seen other teams predict that auto may play in another spot. As, for example, we've known teams that recognize that GB likes to use auto very aggressively. However, you can only predict it, but you have to be sure to also react to it correctly as well. So we'll go ahead and see how they play it. We're with Scooge being backing him up in freezer here. Get ready for that push. As he gets ready to play for Control's anti-flash here. So they now push up in the office. That nade is going to go out here. Couple wall bangs go out through office. Nothing that really connects. Control does get some openings picks, but he's revealed his position. They know he's there. He's going to have to fall back to storefront. Scooge wraps back to office. Tries to cover for that door. But Control is playing this very, very smart here. He's playing it back by office. But Scooge just goes down to Admiral Pizzet a bit too aggressively there. Now just sleep alone in freezer. They do have a good hold over the storefront, but all they have to do is just do a freezer push here with Control holding that office green. Swings in on him, gets some damage out, but no dice as he gets a pick though on the Lin with Reptar getting a pick on the Toxic here. They're now pushing in the freezer. Sleep just holding it on his own, but he gets picked by Admiral, and then Pistage gets a refrag on the Control here. Now into a 2v3 scenario. Index being the lone man just holding Teller. They get a smoke on the storefront here to hopefully conceal some of that sight lines. But I think Reptar knows exactly what they're up to. He's a bit hesitant, but he's going to possibly do a slow rotator in the freezer. He knows where they are now. They're by freezer, and Index has most likely called that out. However, they're going to have to clear out bathroom, and Reptar tries to rotate back around here just to get some picks off of there. Index tries to fall out of Teller here, but it does not land almost any picks there.
Lando's pretty low on health, though.
yeah, as we now see health here for attackers is, although they do have a good 3v1 here, their health is all really low, but
It doesn't
Reptar just
matter.
doesn't play it safe. Z gets picked off by Admiral. And I don't know, I think LCG honestly ended up holding that pretty smart. They called exactly where auto was. They isolated the auto, forced him out of storefront, and got that good opening pick on the Scooge there from Admiral.
Overall, pretty solid play by LCG in this round. Man, I really wonder if the people watching could tell I've never casted anything before.
Nah,
That should be very apparent because I don't have anything to say. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. I'm just
you
nodding my
learn, you
head.
learn, you learn through mistakes, and oftentimes some suffering. As a
I'm just,
couple of the Elden Rings players have been out there.
I'm just nodding my head and rubbing my chin in approval.
As we now see here that same castle, Nut Merlin banner. It's now switched here. Of course, we see that door charge go right on the castle. Castle's a very strong one here. Looking at the damage from that last round here, Admiral did a lot of good damage there, which now makes him top frag for LCG. Control top frag in that last round for a good amount of damage. But right now, it's just only 512 versus Admiral and Toxic, who are doing both really well for LCG, with Admiral doing close to 800 damage here and Toxic doing a little over 600. As we now go ahead and get ready for a castle split beach push, which is pretty standard on this type of map. As we see a smoke go out for jungle, Mop is going to be played back of that top pit here, but we could potentially see actually a split for in the pit here instead, with a nade planned out for that. And if they can take that pit very quickly, they can actually isolate out Gnomes. Now, Reptar on Saber, he is very smart on Saber. I think if that does happen, they're going to have him rotate through castle really quickly here, because that way he's going to be able to not only lock down that pit push, but also that jungle push as well. And of course, your LCG is recognizing that there's a lot of potential peaks here from beach, and I think they're going to also get set up for that. So we see, a couple of the windows here by that sand castle, or that little sand dune, the sandbags. And even as well as they know that they can see him just outside. You see a only one in castle here potentially as they open up one of the drawbridges here. Very aggressive jungle and base hold here, might I add, actually. No one's holding that top ruins. Reptar going to be very aggressive here in base, and I'm not sure how that might work out for them considering they only have one in castle.
Yeah, one in castle with a Gruber at the.
As they now get the push on the beach here, Lind and Admiral here just pushing up, just doing, getting a little bit of picks, getting some intels. Now push in the pit here, as I think they managed to catch that off, as Reptar now has to rotate out of pit, but they get in a little bit of damage there, but it doesn't necessarily connect. Toxic trying to aim for some wallbangs there, just fishing for some damage. Index gets a little bit of shots off, but again, nothing connects. Sleep pushes out on the Lin, and then Scooge gets a pick onto Lin there. As now Toxic is
He
holding
doesn't
that
get
top
any
of
damage on.
jungle.
Lynn doesn't get any damage on the person holding.
As Toxic now gets a pick on the Scooge, Admiral takes down Reptar now for a 3v4 scenario. Not looking, this is always, no, it's a 2v4, not looking so good for Gnomes here, as they had a really good control for that pit take.
Now just the two in castle, one with Gruber, one with.
He gets picked
never
off
mind.
by Admiral there. And
Oh God!
just a perfect funnel right back to that castle. And I think Gnomes played that, a little bit too poorly. I think it was the right call for LCG to go for that pit push and beach. It seemed like, though, even then for that castle hold too, even if they came for castle, that would be a just weak defense overall, especially since they try to play for a very hard jungle play. And although there is a bunch of cover, Admiral here for being the sniper for LCG, he does manage to get all of his picks off, and he does manage to get a 3K there. And that was really rewarding for the team, especially when they caught him all off guard with that pit take. As we also see the attackers here taking Mop as well, still saving the nade for next round, as it never ended up getting used. As we're down to a 4-1 here with LCG holding the lead.
And here I thought Gnomes was gonna take a W on this one, but no, it seems LCG is
No,
really
LCG
wiping the
being
floor
the
with them.
underdog that they are, they're just holding it off right now. As we take a look at damage here, Admiral has now hit over 1,000 damage in this game, doing a close to 1,100. Toxic following suit with about 700. Control, he's holding his own. He's got a little over 600 damage right now. Scooge again following suit. Reptar, I don't know what's going on with him, man. I've seen him snap before. He's good, but he's just not able to hold himself down right now. He's not able to connect up with the shots. And whether it's maybe they're pushing or maybe it's just a coordination right now. But Reptar just, man, you are just not able to land all your shots today. Maybe he's, woke up wrong the wrong side of the bed. Who knows?
Let's
But he's
say,
now
uh,
going
let's say, uh,
to
let's say allergies.
allergies. It is almost springtime here in
Like,
America, so we'll go ahead. And go on to our next map, Kill House, as we see the wall charge going off onto the breezeway. It's a very, very popular take here for this map, as well as getting down some barbs here for breezeway as well. We possibly will see an E-barb going down for the breezeway, as well as a possible door charge going on into office. They might either door charge to office or end up doing a breezeway take here. Depending on how they may end up doing this, looks like they are end up taking well, they are going to be taking wall here, so it is going to be a breezeway push. As we now see both snipers coming out as well, with Admiral running Saber and Lin running Mop here. As no, it is going to be possibly a double push, as we see the charge go out for office. We'll see how the defenders team hold this, as they could hold that office push locked down if they just play hall. Maybe maybe they have two in hall, coordinated on those peaks there, and maybe another two in kitchen here if they can rotate fast enough. As they're holding an aggressive kitchen and Reptar playing along either for office or hall here. Oh, looks like, yeah, he's going to be playing for office. He's going to be playing for that entry into officer, but that breezeway wall and that door charge could isolate him. Unless if he manages to rotate out the kitchen fast enough. It's as well as we see a very light hall as well. Only just two stationed in hall with Index playing close for the molly, but looks like there's no E-barb going to be coming out for that breezeway barb. So if that barb gets taken out by a Fnade, which we do see here by Toxic, that hall push is just a quick, fast take for LCG here and could be a free win. As wall charge goes out for breezeway, Reptar now going to be repositioning himself. Index tries to get a little bit of damage there, but nothing really seems to connect. As office push goes down, Reptar is just by himself. He gets a barb down there for office, just narrowly misses a shot there. A little bit of damage on the Admiral now, as Index just getting some chip damage in. As Pistage just holds off that sightline from Kitchen. They know he's there. Kitchen's now locked down. Sleep also goes down to Pistage. Reptar
oh
knows
man.
he's there. He tries to get an opening peek for Pistage, but nothing connects. As Breezeway is now basically pushed up here. They're getting ready. But, oh, a double molly just went out. That might be bad. That almost might be the round then. As Nade goes out, they remove the barb. Toxic just destroys Reptar. Lind also goes down to Index. It's just now Control holding Hall in a 5v1 scenario with
This
a
is
good amount
tough.
of flashes. This we
Oh
now see Control
no.
backed up, goes down
Oh
to Toxic.
no. Oh man.
Gnomes' positioning right now just hasn't been on their A game as we've seen for a couple of maps. Seen Reptar there play aggressively for Office, and he just got isolated. And Piston holding that angle all the way from Kitchen here. Again, they just got gunned down there. It's a very good idea for there to watch that angle to cut off that rotate, as that Locker's kitchen door is the only way back into the hall. And I think they took great advantage of that as well. As we now are on to a second half here, as we will be seeing the new maps here. Overall, looking at damage here, we see Control doing a little bit of damage there. Admiral getting in some damage. We see Toxic and Pistage though, who did really well that round, especially Pistage holding off the flank and the cutoff there in Kitchen. Managed to get two amazing opening picks there. Now going to 6-4 by Toxic with another 9-3 by Admiral. As now onto our next map here is Bank. On Halt Thrust here is, we could see a very, very hard take here.
Wait, is this a reset round?
Oh. As we might have, okay.
I think
getting a pause here go out.
It crashed.
As we now see another pause go out here of the game. I believe one of the players has crashed. unfortunately, and for LCG it is toxic, but, despite those crashes, he's been doing surprisingly well on his own. Especially, on a couple of the past maps we saw, I believe it was on that Dome, I believe he got a good opening pick there, and on that Breezeway as well, he got a good opening pick onto Reptar. Overall, though, Gnomes, again, I'm not sure what's going on with them. Their positioning
Yeah.
just hasn't been on their A game. I've seen them do well, especially on that last game against YY. They ended up tying, which, YY is one of the better known European teams in the upper league, and they managed to hold their own. And now coming against LCG here, it's just a 1-5. They're just getting slaughtered.
Hey man, allergy season. I'm pretty sure they're all getting affected by this pollen, man. Maybe they got the flu. I don't know. It's
As we see a potential play in here too, even though the game is paused, it looks like we have a couple of ideas here going up for entrance. Maybe even a double charge for entrance to go take button, maybe even a split take loans. But we do know that, there could be possibly an entrance here just to do a fast take for button. Maybe
yeah.
even a split take
The
as
rounds got
well.
their equipment got reset, right?
As far as I'm concerned, I didn't hear any sort of thing against that.
Because if
I
it
was just
did, then
told.
this is just a simple entrance, just wall through a wall for button. Because we had this exact map on one of our scrims, and that's exactly what we did. Or was it? No, it wasn't a scrim. Was it a game, like an actual match?
I believe it was
Yeah,
a possible scrim, I'm pretty sure.
yeah. We just no.
Oh no, it was a
It
game.
was a
It
match
was against the
against
Snakes, yes.
yeah
It was
against
against
Snakes.
Snakes. We ended up fast taking for button and we managed to hold it pretty hard. I can't remember if we
Yeah,
ended up winning the round, but it
we
looks like
won
they're
the
probably going to
round.
be doing that exact same thing here. They know that button wall is very smart here. They know Tellers is strong to prevent that, so we could possibly see a couple smokes here going out for Tellers
They
if
didn't
they
lay any
are ready to
smokes
plan that.
down.
Well, not as of yet, of course. So they could be planning out for that. If not, they might just end up flashing into Tellers. They are taking an 8 here for accounting, so it looks like they might try to do a split push from loans to accounting. However, for that fast take in the lobby, you're going to want, at least in my opinion, you're going to want at least 4, if not all teammates ready, all hands on deck to take that accounting as fast as possible.
Because it's a pretty easy take if you're able to take it fast.
Hmm They do know that tellers can prevent it though, and right now though it looks like they may only have possibly Reptar playing teller. They do have Sleep playing back hall for a couple of that damage there on the entry, but it looks like they're all going to be playing a heavy accounting here, so they might possibly know. They might be thinking it could be a manager push, but regardless, if they play this right, they could actually hold that accounting button pretty hard. Reptar now playing the mop here for tellers, hoping to get some opening picks. Is they're sending what looks to be 2
Too
for
low.
loans and a 3 for entrance. If Reptar can land at least one of his shots for lobbies, that could possibly be the end of their push there. As damage goes off, gets a pick on the Admiral here, bringing him down just to 15 HP. As Pisces and Lind are now going to slowly push out here in the loans. As Reptar positions himself for possible reposition here with Index to hold for an accounting push. As they're now all stacked up in accounting with just Index holding manager. Toxic and Lando begin to push up in the lobby. Pistage just by himself in Hall. As
No one
looks like they
playing
are going to
tellers
be
here.
no one playing tellers, but I think that's smart of them to rotate out of theirs. That could have been the end for Reptar if you just wanted to stick in there. The wall should be going down here soon as they are trying to get ready for that. And it looks like Scooch here might die to the wall if he doesn't rotate out enough, and he
Oh no,
does die.
he's definitely dying to that
As they now
wall.
predicted, that button goes off. Lin takes a couple damage from the molly. Reptar
But they
gets a pick
volleyed
on the
himself
Lin.
off the
Button's
button.
open though, but Index is trying to come back to Vault. As he picks off
Uh,
Toxic and establishes a 3v3, the 2v2.
oh my
Back into a
god. Oh,
1v1.
Len.
Index now by himself in Vault. Pistage and Lando know exactly where he is, as they're
But
now
they don't
trying to
have
get
any
position for
flashes.
it. But no flashes. That's correct. No flashes out here for entrance.
Unless
As they're now
Pistage picked one up from the body.
as of just one flash here, if they can time this correctly, they could get in a vault here. But Index does a little bit of damage here, gets both
Oh my
Pistage and Lando.
Index.
They were just perfectly lined up for that. I wasn't unsure if that's a communication issue on that part, but they had those flashes timed perfectly. They had that util ready for vault, and Index, he played it really smart. He was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit aggressive here, and I think it rewarded. I think it ended up paid off for him playing a little bit aggressive there. And I think overall that positioning for the last round was definitely a lot better than some of their past rounds. So I saw them get ready, and not only that, with the communication as well with mollies. We saw a couple of mollies go off for this game. The molly went off right away for that wall charge, and maybe that game could be the mental changer here for Gnomes. Maybe we could see a change in pace by Gnomes, or who knows? Maybe LCG might be able to come back from that round and end up possibly going up to 6-2 or maybe even a 7-2 here with a victory for LCG's favor. As we are now on to another factory map here, Halfback Helix. And it is a power located in office here. We see this map constantly with people using the wall from server to get power, but they just used wall on that bank, and it
I,
didn't end too well for in their favor.
that was a very expensive round for LCG.
No, yeah, that's true. They ended up using both door and wall on that round, and now they're forced to go green. And I think Gnomes is going to actually possibly take that round just by the fact that they know they have to go green here if they play it very smart.
Now they still have one door charge, but only one.
They
So
might
they
end up
might just do a
they could
red.
risk it potentially, yes. Which do you think? Possibly boiler or walkway? Like personally for me, I'd be a more proponent of boiler because at least you'd be able to get some walkway control here and then funnel out in the cargo if you time your flashes and smokes correctly. So that walkway, while it is you do get instant walkway and knock control, you have a very, a lot of angles that you have to just watch over from the office and below a walkway here. They also are getting the barb off ready for green. But it looks like they are going to actually probably try and do a green take here. Or maybe even possibly a split take. Walk away green, which, I don't know, that does seem a little bit risky with the angles they have on the office. And, just the fact that they can get hanged here from server. And they aren't taking a nade either for servers. So, Reptile's holding that very aggressively. Sleep to back him up for servers with Legros here. So they could easily just possibly win that entire gunfight here. As they are going to be trying to go for a red here as well. Toxic and Lando wrapping around to walkway. Sleep gets a couple of shots out. Nothing connects. Black Tar goes out. Gets a little bit of damage here on the Sleep. Reptar gets ready, just sitting there. The smoke goes out. Gets a shot but on Admiral, but no dice, no kill. As Toxic and Lando are now slowly making their way up to the walkway red. Reptar has rotated around, is now watching for that server. They don't know about that walkway push. Control could
No,
possibly
these
die
could
here from the
be.
red door if they time it perfectly, and Reptar gets a good pick on the Admiral. There goes their sniper, as they now have claimed walkway control. Sleep gets a perfect pick.
Two easy picks for the. Okay. Oh, three.
As
Now
now
it's a
Toxic and Lando now
3v.
just funnel out. Now it's a 2v4 here. Sleep tried to get that pick, but just sadly dies. Now Index is a good pick on the Pistage.
I guess we were wrong about walkway because I thought walkway was a bad push as well.
Well, we saw from Gnomes that they actually, their positioning there again just happened to be off. But I think LCG played that perfect, and that they ended up taking it slow. They just ended up using it to only clear off and push them out of there. As Index and Scoot just a good pick, and now it's just Index alone against Toxic and Lin as they get the pick onto there. So I think we both knew that, that walkway push, as smart as it was, it actually ended up, or as we both ended up saying that, it could be the death of them. That ended up saving them because they did a slow peek and it ended up, or a slow push there, and it ended up pushing them out of walkway. It forced them back in the office, and by the time they already had control of Dock, they only had to have maybe just one guy looking for servers. And Toxic and Lando played that very smart there and ended up getting two great opening picks. Even though Reptar was able to get the pick onto their sniper, was not able to secure the round, and it looks like we see Mop going out for attackers as LCG holds a 6-2 for match point here.
They all had their back towards that red door.
Yeah, it's just Sleep and Reptar that got caught, as Sleep was ended up being focused too much either on server farm or ended up getting flashed out and just couldn't see. With Reptar again playing Mop there, was just overall he could not rotate to a much better spot. And due to that, positioning issue, Gnomes unfortunately has been having for most of this game, just got caught out and open there. So now going to the next map, a C-store. Looking at the damage here really quick. We saw a good amount of damage go off by Lind and Toxic as well. As now Admiral's holding for over 1200 damage here. Toxic holding a little over 100. Index going about 800 or so. And he's been able to hold himself this entire game. Index and Reptar managed to actually get some good picks there. Reptar now has a little bit of kills on his side. But overall, I think it's just if they can fix their positioning issues, if they can fix their communication, and telling them, hey, they pushed you, you guys need to rotate. I think they might be able to even come back from this. But that being said, it is match point. Anything can happen here. As we now go on to a C-Store Infernal Checkmate, which is a pretty, I guess a wide storefront, if you could say it. A very, very tight arcade here. And unfortunately, they did use charge there, and although it did win on the round, they're out of charges, so they have to green this. And Gnomes, if they play this correctly, if they play their position right, they can play off that. Now they should be able to still have a nade left. And LCG should be
Yeah,
able to use that nade correctly if they use it either for that arcade or office push.
I don't remember them using any nades if I was watching correctly. So I'm pretty sure they could just open up storefront if they like clear out office, clear out bathroom, and then tellers. And I feel like they can still work with this.
Possibly could, as we actually see a heavy barb going out here for storage and arcade. Also as well, 2 barbs off for Teller, so it looks like they're just going to give up Teller control entirely. Not sure if that will actually end up losing them the round, as, Gnomes here has had a couple of misplays, but we'll see how it goes. They might be predicting that they end up taking Teller and just giving them up, and possibly having one for Freezer getting ready for power to prevent for that storefront open. As we see only one nade go out here, Lin taking Mop, though, on this map. As no one's playing for storage, that storage green barb. We don't see Sleep playing in office for the knack. We do see them playing for arcade, though, as we now see just everyone situated in storefront here. A couple of damage does go off. Lin takes a couple
Oh,
of hits there.
control. Control throws a molly in bathroom. I don't know what that was about.
We have Molly him off. Lin gets a nice pick on the Sleep here as they get the Molly off for arcade. Still no wall bangs, as they could potentially get some wall bangs off there, but they have no one playing off in Toxic for that. They're just giving them office. As Admiral now clears into office, he doesn't know controls there, but he gets a wall bang.
Oh, a wall bang
Knows
on.
he was waiting for there. He was just waiting. Control obviously he's waiting, but Admiral knew he was just playing back there. Bathroom red door's been kicked open to allow them for a
Teller's
much better
basically
rotate.
free.
Tellers is now just free for attackers, and whether or not they just gave it up to them, Index ends up kicking open that door, which may or may not be, the possibility he was going for. As 2 in arcade here, Index just goes down now for a 2v4 here. Reptar taking AKM, Scooge with the short AK. It's now a 2v3 here. Scooge gets some nice damage off the Lando. Reptar holding up the storefront here. Molly's off for that, prevents the push. Scooge tries to push in the Lando, gets the pick.
Oh, Reptar is
Reptar
down.
goes down the Pistage, and it's now just Scooge by himself. He has a good amount of health left. Admiral and Index, or Admiral and Pistage, may I add, actually, are the only 2 alive. And Scooge gets that pick. Does manage to survive. It's now just Pistage with around half HP with an AP here. I think Scooge can perfectly hold this if he plays his cards right. Pistage knows he could be playing around top of the map here, either for Arcade or Freezer. So he's going to have to play it safe. Scooge here goes for a good peek there, gets some damage, and Pistage is not able to return the favor. Pistage is going for try and go for a defuse here. But he gets the pick.
Oh my
Onto
god!
Scooge with just a couple HP left.
And the game
will it be
goes to
enough time?
LCG.
And they do manage to
got
defuse
time.
with just
He's
2
got time.
seconds remaining, with a 2-7 with LCG winning that game. Honestly, Cosmic, that caught me by surprise that Gnomes went from a 6-6 with YY to now a 2-7 with LCG. End up taking that game.
How did he lose that gunfight to Pistage? How? What?
We saw a bunch of good opening damage there by Scooge, who
Dude,
ended
yeah.
up killing him there. And, sadly, he was not able to win that gunfight, and it ended up going to LCG's favor there.
That should have been easy money. What?
As we now see, go ahead and take a look at stats. We see Admiral doing close to 1,400 damage there, getting good 10 kills, a couple assists there too, as he's doing great work on that Saber. Toxic almost rounding out to about 1,200 damage there, getting a good couple kills, beating the opener there, as well as getting a couple picks there with Mop in some of the early game. Lind as well ended up taking Mop, and going on to Gnomes here, as we see Scooge ended up doing the most damage with getting a 10 kills, 8 deaths. doing a little over 1100 damage here.
Yeah, I don't
As he had
like.
ended up 5 opening picks there, playing very aggressively for Gnomes. Whether or not that ended up working out in his favor, regardless, he was not able to take some of those gunfights, sadly. Especially on that last C-store round, where he just was not able to land any of those shots, which is unfortunate for Gnomes here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but like I think their positioning is what got to him that time as well. Because Control, like he was playing all the way far back in bathroom with the auto shotty, and he ended up like throwing a molly, even though no one was really outside the door.
I think over in general, aside from it being positioning, it may have been a communication issue that game too.
Yeah,
Even then, also just for LCG calling out, where Auto would be playing, as well as their pushes in general. As we saw on Killhouse, Reptar ended up getting isolated on that one earlier C story we saw. They called out that where Auto would played. Like they knew he was going to be playing there, and it was pretty much over for Control there. Even though he was able to get a bit of damage there from rotating back around to that storefront, he just was not able to get a whole lot of damage off. And I think LCG, because they ended up doing a good amount of communication there in their attacker rounds, just isolating a bunch of their players, especially with those split pushes, especially the slow push on the factory, that end up securing a lot of those kills there, which ended up securing a couple of those rounds.
yeah, poor gnomes, poor gnomes.
Poor Gnomes.
That's all I gotta say. That's tough, homie. Hopefully you can win your next one. But, good job, LCG. I didn't. I got to clap for you.
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't know how your
I,
team plays, but from what I can see right there, you guys play well.
yeah, Gnomes out here, thinking that, oh yeah, they'll win this, we got this, but I was proved wrong. LCG being the underdogs in this case, they just straight up took it, and they
Hey,
just straight up,
look at from
you
them.
know, yeah, they straight up took it, ran it, and then just beat them with a 7-2 here. Again, great job from Admiral being the sniper here, with a follow up by Toxic here as well.
Admiral with
As
1,300 damage.
almost 14 there, he did pretty good, but 2 opening picks there as well for LCG. As final thoughts about that game. I was going into it thinking, oh yeah, Gnomes got this. They have Reptar, who's a pretty good sniper. They have Index and Scooch, who are pretty good solid. And then Control and Sleep as well, as they do pretty good on support. But they just weren't able to secure any of those kills, and LCG's planning just caught them off guard a lot of the time. And I think that's what won them the game. You have any final thoughts about this cause?
No, they just LCG did what I didn't expect them to do, and it's been a ride. I didn't have much to say, but it's been a ride.
It certainly has, as we now round off the second week of Upper League, as we'll be going into week 3 next week around the same time. Hopefully we'll end up seeing a little bit more interesting matchups here with Gnome and LCG. Do look forward to that for the next week. So I will go ahead and catch you all until the next time.